I don't believe what I just saw.
This is one of the great moments in the history of baseball.
You believe in miracles? Yes!
Is this the dagger?
This day in sports, February 23rd. On today's episode, a legendary goalie plays his first game. A legendary college coach loses his mind, not for the first or last time. A legendary ballpark is torn down, unfortunately not Tropicana Field. A landmark moment for representation in pro sports. A landmark moment for women fighters. A historically bad single-season record. A historically bad movie about basketball. And a not-so-great birthday for a Canadian basketball star. Plus, our Dork Draft this episode features us picking our favorite sports movies with our special guest, Canada's most respected movie critic, Richard Crouse, to judge who picked the best movies. Sandy, you have some exciting news for us about our new sponsor.
Yes, I do. And first of all, excellent job on the listing off those teasers.
Oh, yeah.
Mike.
It was really, really good.
Great job. I mean, the show started so professionally, you wonder why someone like Richard Crouse would join us. I mean, it's just like he must be just an absolute mystified because he wouldn't know what the show is. It was so professional off the top. He signed up for the version before where we weren't as good. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
No,
I tried to make something out of that.
Way to kill all the momentum.
No, fantastic. Let's do it again.
a legendary nosedive when it came to the sponsors section.
That's not our sponsor. No. I'm going to say this. It was so professional, I should say, that Richard Crouse will belong on this podcast. He'll feel at home because he's a pro, an absolute pro.
Yeah.
And he's joining two other pros and another guy to do a great episode of This Day in Sports. And I tell you one thing. This episode is brought to us by Cabin, Barber, and Gentleman Supply, which we are broadcasting from right now. This is this background here right now. If you are visually looking at it, not just in the podcast world, you will see this wonderful background for Cabin, the Port Credit location, Matt. We are proud to welcome Cabin, Barber, and Gentleman Supply on board as our sponsor. Whether you have difficult to cut hair, a challenging beard, or just you're generally a combative person, combat be damned, Cabin is the place to be. And it's not just an incredible barber shop. It's also a gentleman's supply shop, meaning you can get everything from personal grooming products to fancy socks to Cabin-branded apparel. We're all desperately trying to get one of those Cabin sweatshirts out front. So fingers crossed, if you keep on mentioning it, maybe we'll end up with one of those Cabin sweaters, which look amazing, I got to say. Cabin has 3 locations, including the Port Credit location, which I said we're at right now. Get a shave, get a cut, get a ton of compliments when you roll out of here with a Cabin fresh look. For more, check out cabingoods.ca. Our sponsor, Cabin. What a wonderful place to be. Smells good in here even.
We're getting espresso.
Yeah.
Get an espresso. Nice like a smell of a bit of shaving cream in here. A lot of leather.
Tell us about the chair you're in, Sandy, for those who can't see you.
Large and leather. I look tiny in this chair. I look tiny. This is hilarious. I mean, who is this made for? There's like an Andre the Giant chair.
Wilt Chamberlain's chair.
It's Wilt Chamberlain's chair. Spooge all over it.
Oh.
Why'd you do that, Mike?
Yeah, come on now.
Jesus Christ.
Well, we got big
Really glad I
chairs
tried
to
start us off
fill.
professionally.
Is it a sex chair? Let's find out. Big chairs, big
it down,
shoes.
Frank.
Please, Matt.
We're done.
Please, Matt. Get us somewhere else.
Okay, let's jump right into things. We're talking about the day, February 23rd. We talk about that day. We talk about it throughout history. We try and do some research, and we do the best we can. And I want to tell you about something that happened February 23rd, 1985. At the age of 19, NHL Hall of Fame goalie Patrick Waugh made his NHL debut. Debut?
Dispuge.
Patrick Waugh, you guys know him. He made his NHL debut. I don't know.
No.
Something about that word now.
Just
on
debut.
this day.
Just going to say debut. Yeah,
Debut.
You can do it.
So the Montreal Canadiens, they drafted Waugh in the 3rd round, 51st overall, the 1984 entry draft. I don't know if you remember, but the problem was that Waugh grew up a huge fan of the rival Quebec Nordiques. And he idolized Nordique goalie Dan Bouchard. Some even wondered if he would play for Montreal, but he did. He signed, and he was called up on February 23rd, 1985. They were, Montreal's playing back-to-back games against Winnipeg and the Islanders, so they called Waugh up. And according to Waugh, At the second intermission of the game, Jacques Lemaire came into the dressing room and said, "Wow, get in net." But his English wasn't so great, so he turns to Guy Carbonneau and said, "Did he mention my name?" And Guy's like, "Yeah, you're going in."
Oh,
So kind of funny.
yeah. No, it's good.
Waugh went in. He started the third period of the game that was tied. It was a 4-4 game. He made 2 saves for his first career win. And he replaced Doug Sotart in that game.
Oh,
If the game was tied 4-4, I wonder why he got put in. Like,
I know. Well, I guess that's because it was
Sotart didn't get hurt or anything.
No, but they were playing back-to-back games, so I guess they were just like
He was tired.
yeah.
Right.
So
Okay.
maybe
he
they just
only
wanted to
made
give him
2 saves and got the win. So
yeah.
it was a good night.
And Sotart, I don't even think was their regular. Like Steve Penny was
Yeah.
the regular goalie that season, so Sotart was kind of. I think he was the number 2 goalie. So
Maybe Penny was hurt at the time or something.
yeah. It was the only game he played that. Well, the only game he played that season. He went back to the Sherbrooke Canadians in the AHL and took the starting job over there and helped them to a Calder Cup championship.
What do you think? Okay, Mike, you go first. 'Cause
No, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, now there's an entry draft. Could you imagine if the NHL had an exit draft? And what would that be like? Would you just go, okay, every year, every team picks another player has to leave the league? What would that be like? And I'm just telling you, I'm completely sober. I'm drinking a 0% beer right now. And
The NHL exit
just-
draft.
Like a survivor situation, or they want to get rid
Yeah.
of a contract, or
relegation
people
thing.
they
Yeah.
relegation. Like
Yeah.
you're not up to snuff.
One player gets from each team, they get to send them down to the AHL.
how about if every team exposed 5 players to the exit draft, and then all the other teams got to pick from the other teams who they wanted to leave the league?
Yeah.
That's, Matt, you like gamification.
I like gamification. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm into this. I don't think the Players Association would be on board.
Probably.
Oh, absolutely not.
No. I'm just guessing. On that same day in 1985, just a few hundred miles away, Indiana University men's basketball coach Bobby Knight was ejected just 5 minutes into a game versus Purdue when he threw a chair across the court as the Boilermakers were taking a foul shot attempt. He had already had a technical foul called against him in the first 5 minutes when the chair launching occurred, and he certainly earned him his second with the throwing of the chair. After the game, Knight was quoted as saying he saw an older lady on the other side of the court without a seat, and he was just trying to give her somewhere to sit down.
Oh,
Man.
He was suspended only 1 game for the incident, and from that point forward was always on his best behavior and never had a controversial incident ever again. It's just strange that it happened because he was usually so even-keeled. Just really the one time that he lost his temper, Bob Knight. No.
Yeah, I've made up those sort of excuses in high school. Like, I wasn't laughing at you, sir. I was laughing at what? That's a bad one. You gotta get rid of that one.
He was joking in the press conference where he
Okay.
said the thing about he was clearly joking, but nevertheless, I think the only thing that's interesting about that too is it kind of shows the leniency with he was treated for every incident that happened with him until they finally fired him. Like, there was so many times he did things and the university kind of looked the other way and let him go. Like, even when he choked the kid and they were, they had video of it, they were like lenient with him, and nobody really wanted to punish him. This may have been the first time that sort of happened, but he did have a perfect season in 1976. So
Wow, perfect season.
that allows you to do whatever you want, right?
Brian Dennehy played him in the
That's correct.
biopic.
That's
Good
correct.
choice. Really
Yeah,
good
he was
choice.
filmed in Winnipeg, Manitoba,
Winnipeg,
that right?
or at least some of it.
Yeah,
you
I
go.
that's
think.
true. Yeah.
I'm wondering how mad we would have to get Sandy to throw that giant chair, that giant leather chair.
I don't think he'd pick it up.
Yeah, no.
And I realize now why, when we were setting up, our producer, Frank Russo, said, "Oh, man, Tears for Fears over there." Yeah. Tell us in the big chair.
Songs from the Big Chair.
Songs
yeah.
in the Big Chair. That's the song. Yeah.
That's right.
Frank's clever.
He is.
Yeah, it doesn't
That's
get a lot
why
of credit
he's
for that.
hiding over there.
All right. 1960. February 23rd, 1960. Demolition began on Ebbets Field in Brooklyn after the owner, Peter O'Malley, took the Dodgers to L.A. after the 1957 season. The legendary ballpark had hosted soccer games featuring teams like Manchester City and Liverpool FC and Negro League games put together by former Dodger Roy Campanella, but eventually was torn down in order to build the Ebbets Field apartments. The Dodgers leaving Brooklyn has been called one of the most notorious abandonments in the history of sports, and people from the borough who can remember it still speak of it as though mourning the death of a loved one. And it's incredible that some people won't even go near those apartments. They don't even want to ever see it again. And
yeah, they don't even want to talk about it. No.
Nope.
I mean, I think that generation, a lot of them have kind of passed on,
Yep.
but it was a real sore spot. I think it's kind of cruel, too, that though Major League Baseball has come back to New York, they did not go back to Brooklyn. Like, they went to Queens instead. I thought it's kind of seems kind of mean.
Yeah, well, the only team I believe in history of baseball, Major League Baseball anyway, that is a borough, not a city.
Yeah.
The only team that ever did that.
When they were renting those apartments, they made this playful like renting brochure where a 3-bedroom was a triple.
Oh yeah.
And you could get a bunt, which was a smaller, more efficient apartment. I'm not making this up. This is
I believe that you're not.
Well, that
making it up.
sounds like something corporate people would do and think it's funny.
Yeah. Great idea.
They had murals up in the 7 lobbies. They had at least put some Dodger murals up. So at least they were trying to embrace some of the
Well, yeah, sure.
Dodger culture.
Yeah, I doubt it won fans over.
And that was it for Jackie Robinson. And
Yeah.
57 was the end for him. They tried to trade him to the Giants, and he just
Said no.
retired. That was
That's
it.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really sad. And everyone who talks about all the old guys, like Mike said, most have gone, but there are a bunch still left that are just absolutely still devastated and would not support the LA Dodgers at all.
No, I wouldn't think. Yeah, I think that'd be about the last team you'd cheer for.
And most of them became Mets fans because they were just like,
Sure,
well,
that
I'm
makes
not going to be a
sense.
Yankees fan, and I'm not going to be a Dodgers fan. I guess I'll go with this other team.
Yeah, I don't know many people who live in Montreal that cheer for the Nationals.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, no. Okay, Matt.
Oh, me. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I'm ready. How about
Take it easy,
okay,
man.
yeah.
Take it easy, man. You got real nervous.
In 1906, Canadian boxer Tommy Burns beats American Marvin Hart in Los Angeles to become the only Canadian-born boxer to hold the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship. He later lost the title to Jack Johnson, who became the first black world heavyweight champion.
Wow. There
Yeah.
you go.
I don't think many people know that.
No.
I did not know that, no.
He was actually born Noah Brousseau, but changed his name to Tommy Burns.
Where was he born? Do you know?
Yeah, I do, because his nickname, he was born in Hanover because his nickname was the Little Giant of Hanover.
And was Tommy Burns, like, in the time, did that sound more like a fighter's name? Is
I
that why
think
you changed?
so.
Like, it sounds more like an Irishman
I think so.
pugilist name, so you know,
I think
scrapping Tommy Burns.
he was the Little Giant because he was 5'7", the shortest champ ever.
Yeah, that'd do
Shortest champ ever. Interesting. Okay.
5'7".
Imagine him in this chair. Tiny.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked.
Then you could throw it.
But then he'd pick it up. He could pick up this chair, but when he sat in it, he looked like a baby.
That's right.
A full-grown baby. An adult baby? Is that the term I'm looking for?
Who is it? Is it me?
You are.
Yeah, it's me. Okay. In 2013, on February 23rd, in Anaheim.
Sounded almost an Irish accent there, but you think he still had
in
it.
2013, in Anaheim, California, Ronda Rousey and Liz Carmouche battled in the bantamweight division at UFC 157. It was the first women's match in UFC history. Rousey won the bout with an armbar submission with around 10 seconds remaining in the first round, retaining her title as the women's bantamweight champion, which had been given to her a few months earlier, prior to which she was the Strikeforce women's bantamweight champion. So that's a pretty landmark day in the UFC. As we know, the ladies headline a lot of those UFC events now. I'm not pretending to be an expert on UFC, but that's a pretty cool thing, and that was 10 years ago, just 10 years ago.
Wow.
It's hard to believe, isn't it? You kind of thought it might have gone back further than that, but 10 years ago, Ronda Rousey, first time in at a UFC thing.
The Rousey. That's one of the few I even know.
Rowdy Ronda Rousey.
That's one of the few actually UFC fighters, male or female, I actually know. I have to know so little about the UFC.
I'm no expert either, but that's pretty cool. That's why I wanted to mention it. She went to the WWE, that's right. And she was Rowdy Ronda Rousey. Yes. With Rowdy Piper's endorsement, she had all his, she wore the same kind of stuff and that.
Yeah. She wore a Hot Rod t-shirt?
She did.
Whoa.
And and with his full blessing.
Right.
Well, he's no longer with us, is he?
That's right. No, Rowdy
So
Piper.
this was prior to
It
his...
was prior to him passing away, but yeah, he gave his blessing.
Yeah.
I don't think that went well. The WWE
okay,
stint.
okay.
I don't think it lasted as long as they had hoped.
Frank questioned that from... You can't hear him on mic, but...
Yeah.
She might be, but I think there was some hiccups. But anyway, we'll get back to you, everybody.
Hey, everybody. 1979, February 23rd, 1979, the basketball comedy movie Fast Break had its gala premiere in Los Angeles. And this is going to loosely tie into what we're getting to some sports movies in a little bit. And that's why the fabulous Richard Crouse is joining later on for these sports movies. The film starred Gabe Kapler of Welcome Back Kotter fame as a down-and-out
Not
basketball.
Gabe Kapler, the manager of the Giants. Gabe Kaplan.
Did I say Kapler?
Yes. You
Gabe
did.
Kapler, who is, of course, outfielder of manager Giants. Great shape. We got Gabe Kapler, cover of Men's Health.
Now that guy should be in a
Gabe
movie.
Kaplan should have been on the cover of
Yeah,
Men's Health.
that's
Had
right.
Old Need been around at the time.
Yeah.
All right. So Gabe Kaplan. Of Welcome Back Kotter fame.
He was actually credited in the movie as Gabriel Kaplan.
Thank you. That was why I made the mistake.
Yeah.
I got confused.
Like it comes up on the screen as
Yeah.
Gabriel Kaplan.
Thank you.
True story.
Anyhow, he plays however he credited him. He played a down and out basketball coach who gets a shot to coach at. Check this out, Cadwallader University, Cadwallader University with a proviso. Matt,
Debut.
Matt,
Debut.
Mike.
What?
I think Mike is writing in Latin now.
I think he is, yeah.
Really?
I-
Proviso? Is that hard a word?
Well, I mean, for maybe, for me.
Make it your own, Sandy. Just,
With the provision that he will receive a lucrative contract only if he can defeat high-powered Nevada State. The movie co-starred University of Tennessee star Bernard King, who became a top 10 draft pick in the NBA the next year, and features one of the first on-camera appearances by Lawrence Fishburne, who plays Street Kid.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
One of the great roles.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne, one of his first acting jobs. Yep.
Apocalypse Now as well.
Yeah. Right afterwards, I think.
17 years old, I think, Apocalypse Now. Incredible. It's still cranking at Lawrence Fishburne. Still going.
yep.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
He's in everything.
He's in everything.
I know. You see him all the time.
Yeah. He's so that was a movie that I remember seeing as a kid.
It was on TV all the time when we were
Yes.
kids. Yeah.
Yes. But that's a long time ago since I've seen it. And I once owned a VHS copy of it as well.
Really?
Yep. And I honestly believe that someone gave it to me as like a joke gift, and I was like, I've seen this a million times. Like, oh, you like the movie? I'm like, no, I've just seen it a bunch of times, and I don't think that VHS ever hit the machine. I think that was
Oh, no.
had seen it too many times, Matt.
Right.
Seen it too many times. So if you want to head down to the BMV in the annex, if you're in the Toronto area, you may still find my copy.
If you do, it'll be $180. But yeah.
Fast break. All right, everybody. That was 1979, February 23rd. Matt, what you got?
I got 1980. So in 1980, American speed skater Eric Heiden won his 5th gold medal at the 1980 Olympics in Lake Placid, New York, by shattering the world record in the men's 10,000 meter event by over 6 seconds. And apparently, the night before, he had stayed up late cheering on the U.S. men's hockey team in that huge upset over the Soviet Union in Miracle on Ice.
Wow.
So he was, just like in a movie, he wakes up late. He wakes up late in the morning,
Yeah.
rushing around to get to the rink, just eating a few slices of bread for breakfast, gets there, wins his 5th medal.
Do you know that he ate a bunch of slices of bread?
I read somewhere. I think
Really?
he ate some bread. Yes.
Wow.
Ran around eating slices of bread.
I don't know. I can't back that up. I think that's what happened. I think he was rushing to the rink. I have no reason to make that up.
And on that day, he became he's now, because of that win today, he's the most successful Olympian at any Winter Olympics ever.
Wow.
Ever. He won 5 gold medals in one Olympics,
Yeah.
which only 2 countries had more gold medals than him in that.
Right. Soviet Union, East
Holy
Germany,
smokes.
well,
Yeah.
and his own U.S., which
Yeah.
had 6. The
Yeah.
other, of course, being the U.S. hockey team,
Yeah.
who went on to win over Finland. We all think that they won in that game over
Russia.
over Soviet Union. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was a
That was
yeah.
only
So
the semis, yeah.
yeah, so he had 5, and his sister Beth Heiden also won a bronze medal in speed skating in 1980.
Wow.
She's 15 months younger. She's also a speed skater. Beth Heiden.
Jeez.
Yeah. So he was 19 at those Olympics. He was 6'1", 185 pounds, 32-inch waist, 27-inch thighs.
Whoa. That's a lot of bread.
That's a lot of bread.
I think the average is around 20. I don't know what average,
Yeah.
for a
That guy
body
could
type,
sit
but
in that
that's
chair.
Oh, yeah. But that's like Barry Sanders. Like Barry Sanders was like barely 5 feet tall, but
Yeah.
his legs were about 10 feet wide.
Yeah.
It's this disproportionate body. I remember once seeing Martin St. Louis walking with Le Cavier. And those are 2 exact opposite body types.
Really?
Oh, Le Cavier is tall, super skinny. St. Louis short, but his legs were honestly just giant tree stump legs on the St. Louis. but he's half this height of LeCavier. But the two of them are just completely opposites, and like that's what my wife would call a hockey bum to go with those hockey legs. And there's like a box out in the corner. You can't get to the puck around those guys.
Right on.
It's like Yager walked around. He had 2 Bibles in his back pockets. Huge ass.
High pockets, as they like to say.
Yeah, old Bible bum Yager.
Old high pockets.
I'm not sure how that translated in the Czech Republic, but yeah, he's these big hockey bums, man. That's what you need, Matt.
Well, I guess
Yeah, well, that was an impressive thing that Eric Heiden did February 23rd in 1980 at the Olympics.
Old bread bottoms.
And later he became a doctor.
He did. He also
so things worked out.
He also was, he in 1985 at a different date, but he won the U.S. Professional Cycling Championship and went on to compete in the Tour de France.
Oh. Yeah, he's like an
Yeah,
incredible.
and then went on to be an orthopedic surgeon.
Like ESPN named him one of the 50 greatest athletes of the 20th century because of he was a world like a champion in 2 entirely different sports.
I think his lower body was everything.
Yeah.
Riding bikes
Well,
and
clearly,
speed skating.
yeah.
He's got everything going on in the lower body.
That'll do it.
And I think a humble guy too. Like for the medals, he was apparently said something like, "Heck, gold medals. What can you do with them? He'd rather have a nice warm-up suit."
Oh, well, that can be arranged.
Who wouldn't?
I mean, yeah.
You should come here to Cabin and get a warm-up.
Yeah.
Hey,
thank
there you
you.
go.
It all
Bringing it
ties
back.
in.
Yeah, come on
Tying
down
it
to
in.
Cabin for a wonderful warm-up suit.
2014, Nets center Jason Collins became the first openly gay athlete to play in a game in any of the major North American sports, grabbing 2 rebounds in 10 minutes in Brooklyn's 108-102 win over the Lakers. Collins had come out publicly in Sports Illustrated in May of the previous year, but had not signed with a new NBA team until the following February. He played 22 games that season and retired after a 13-year career. He was an All-Pac-10 player in 2001 and was a first-round pick of the Rockets out of Stanford later that year. His twin brother Jaron played in the NBA as well and played 10 years, but just kind of a landmark day that he was the first guy who had already announced, like, he's the only, I think he might still be the only one or one of the few
Active.
who has announced, yes, I'm gay, and played, not retired, and then said so.
Yep.
I know he didn't play that long, but I remember him being on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
That was a
big
huge deal.
Yeah, kind of a cool. I'm doing all these social issues.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
So
Thank you.
Well, that's a great chance
it's
to
good.
Carrying all
show
the
that
weight.
you're a better person than
That's
us.
that's what it's about.
I'm not even sure if I insulted Richard Crouse. I'm still developing. Did I make fun of him off the top of this show? Because I wouldn't want to do that.
No, you did. You didn't.
Yeah.
He's not going to listen anyway.
He's just going to do his appearance and that's it?
Yeah, he's going to fast forward through all this shit.
Just to get to his
Just to get
part.
to his
I'm
part.
still thinking about the Jagger one. Like, I don't know if two Bibles in your back pockets is like.
Well, just having a big hockey bum. Like, even Sid Crosby's got a pretty big hockey bum, and it's like surprising when you see it. It's like 2 halves of the body don't quite match.
Now, here's my question, though. Is that a thing you're born with, or is that a thing you develop as you play hockey more and more and more?
I think you develop because you
Right.
work your lower body a bunch,
Sure.
so that people can't knock you off the
When
puck.
you're playing at Crosby level.
I mean, Crosby for sure, but remember Yager when his prime especially, you couldn't get the puck off of him.
Yeah.
He could circle around. Like Lemieux had a big body.
yeah.
Yager had a big lower body.
That was
and he could not get the puck back because he could box you out.
Charles Barkley, too.
Oh yeah,
Remember, it was always like a thing. He was like he had a huge ass. You could, when he tried to back you into the book, you couldn't do anything.
I don't know if it was a backside, but Peter Forsberg was one of the guys I remember just. You can't get the puck off of that guy.
can't take his puck,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? He would just
Yeah.
circle around.
We
He'd
gotta
use
get-
his arm and just arm bar you
his-
away and just.
He was famous for working core strength
Ah.
because he could do the weights on the standing on a Pilates ball. That was his big training thing. He'd
Wow.
stand on a Pilates ball and do heavy weights. So he's balancing his core and his whole body while he's doing it. And that if you work that core strength, and I think Crosby did the same thing, you can't knock the puck off a guy because you can't push him over.
Right.
Let's do a draft. Biggest asses
Big
in
asses.
sports.
Yeah.
Big asses in sports.
There's a surefire way to get us.
Big asses in sports. But the great thing is, who's going to judge it?
Sandy,
We'd have to get Charles Barkley.
I think you're up.
Oh shoot! I'm pretty much waiting for some quick hits to come.
I got one for you. Okay, I'll
Jump
throw
in
one at
because
you here.
I'll be hot on the quick hits.
I know you. I know you're waiting for this one. February 23rd is Curling is Cool Day.
Oh,
Did you know this? This is
you
a
make that
national
up?
day. No, I did not.
Kip
It is
just made this
It
up.
is
Yeah.
Curling is Cool Day.
okay.
So I looked. So naturally, I wanted to find also a cool curling thing for February 23rd or 23rd. Yep. So in 2020,
And you couldn't.
no, not that long ago in the world of curling. Carrie Anerson, Team Manitoba Rink, she defeats Rachel Homan, Team Ontario, to win the Scotties Tournament of Hearts in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. The Tournament of Hearts is, of course, the Canadian Women's Curling Championship.
Now, is it a question mark? Like, is curling cool day or is curling cool day?
Curling is cool.
Oh,
day.
they just make it a statement. Okay.
There's no question mark.
Can't unquestionable.
Yeah, you don't want
curling is cool.
Yeah, unquestionably.
Anderson had a chance to put the game away in the 10th, but came up heavy on a draw, sending it to extra ends, where she found herself
That
again
is cool.
drawing against 2, but made a great shot. Let her sweepers put it on the button for the win. First Scotties win for Anderson, whose rink curls out of the Gimli Curling Club in Manitoba.
Oh, no.
Please,
Gimli,
you have to stop saying
land of the
Anderson.
Vikings. Anderson's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's the land of the Vikings. Now, let's get into some quick hits, Mike.
Okay, this is a quick hit. In 1975, Capitals defenseman Bill Mickelson finishes a game versus St. Louis with a -2 rating in his final game that season. This is noteworthy because that season he finished with an NHL record low -82 plus minus. And the amazing part about it is he only played in 59 games.
Oh, my God.
So literally every game he was allowing 1.4 goals a game more than he was on the ice for. That is, no one will ever touch that. No one will ever touch that. I mean, the Capitals, that was the year they were an expansion team.
Yes.
They were historically bad, but that's pretty fantastic. Don't forget about good old Bill Mickelson.
Wow. It's like he played in the whole season with his skate guards on. Like, just
He just
constantly...
realized in that last game, shit,
Oh, wait a minute.
what if I didn't do it? Yeah.
Wow.
Next
that's
quick
really
hit.
bad. Quick hit, man. Oh, quick. I'll take one. Quick hit.
Oh, God.
1991, the University of North Carolina became the first NCAA men's basketball team to reach 1,500 victories by defeating Clemson 73-57 at home. Head coach Dean Smith was in charge of the team for over half of those at the time. The late Dean Smith. I'm a UNC fan, so I brought up a UNC fact. One of my favorite Dean Smith, he didn't really like the celebrations after. So if you big dunk and then take it easy. And his quote was, "A lion never roars after he eats."
Oh,
okay.
I like that very much. Dean Smith also, I believe, created the point at the guy who gave you the good pass.
Oh, okay.
Where like that
Acknowledgement.
was what he taught players.
Yep.
Instead of the celebration was that if you get an easy hoop, immediately you point at the guy who had given you the pass to give you that open shot.
Ah, okay.
So even more makes me like Dean Smith.
Well, yeah, Dean Smith was absolute
act.
legend. I believe that actually the quote we're looking up here is a lion never roars after a kill. To make it not just eats, kill. Okay. But he didn't like celebration. It's very much like the quote about act like you've been there before in a touchdown.
Yeah, that's right.
He didn't want to have showboating after a big dunk or something.
Probably a lot of times the lion doesn't roar.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of times. I mean, he doesn't really. He just kind of.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It sounds like a great guy.
Well, he's dead.
Go
now.
ahead, Kip, and top
You're never
that.
going to meet him. You're never going to meet him, Matt. He's dead.
Top that.
All right,
Quick
quick hit. February 23rd, 2021. The Denver Nuggets set an NBA record by committing just one turnover in an entire game during an 111-106 win over Portland. The only Denver player to commit a turnover in the game was Canadian Jamal Murray.
Now that ties in because we're going to birthdays now.
I got a quick hit before we go, Mike.
I know, but it ties it. Okay. Well,
Okay,
sure,
do your
go
birthday.
ahead.
Do your birthday. I don't know how it
Well,
goes.
the birthday is the reason I bring it up is because that February 23rd, the day he also had the only turnover of that game, is also Jamal Murray's birthday.
No way.
In 1997, he was born in Kitchener, Ontario. One of our great Canadian players. Also, in same day, 2 years earlier, Andrew Wiggins was born in Toronto. So two of our great Canadian basketball players currently in the NBA, like upper echelon, both of them all-star level, born on the same day, 2 years apart.
Wow.
Go ahead, Sandy, do your next quick hit. I just wanted to tie that in.
No, that's good. I mean, I think we're pretty close to the end of the quick hits, but I wanted to get one more quick hit in because the Canucks are so horrible right now. I wanted to bring up a 2003 memory for the Canucks fans out there who are suffering. It was a big night for the Canucks as they win 7-2 over Columbus, where Marcus Naslund becomes the first player in Canucks team history to score 40 goals in 3 consecutive seasons. And Dan Cloutier became the first Vancouver goalie to have 30 wins in back-to-back seasons. Big night, 2003. And this year, not too many good nights for the old Canucks.
Not many, no.
So we'll give that to them as a gift. There it
Yes.
is.
Okay. Do we want to do any more birthdays? We got one more birthday I know you want to do, Sandy.
Yeah, I'll get into it.
Go ahead.
Birthday, 1929, 12-time All-Star and the first black player in the New York Yankees New York Yankees history. Elston Howard, born in St. Louis in 1929. Lots to love about Elston Howard. Solid catcher. I love that phenomenal era when Campanella and Elston Howard are around as these dominant black catchers in Major League Baseball. And there had been so much racism about catchers, it takes a lot of intelligence to be a catcher. You got to run the game back there. It can't be a black ball player. And then they came in and completely turned all those racist comments on their heads and racist on their heads. And I think that was fantastic. There's a lot to admire about Elston Howard. I'm sure we'll get into those. But I want to bring up something which I might put the link into our show notes because this guy was so handsome. They put him in so many advertisements, and so he was on the cover of, like, I think GQ or whatever it is, of Vanity Fair. And he was also part of the Amblers jeans thing. And there's a fantastic ad, and put the notes, which I just got to read how these awesome ads ran. Amblers, okay? This is Elston Howard. He's standing there proudly in his Amblers pants. If your taste runs to handsome, styling, smart fit, quality fabrics, it won't be long till you're an Amblers man too. Only as long as it takes you to stop into your favorite men's store and step into a pair of Amblers slacks. All styles, all colors, all washable. Like Elston Howard, the big Yank wears Big Yank. Wear Big Yank. It's so weird. It's a weird copy. I know it's not a debut moment, but I'm going to put these because what I also love about this ad that I found with Big Yank, and you can look up Elston Howard Big Yank Amblers ad. Those pants were $3.95. Sure. Not too bad. That's probably earliest you can. By the way, they're from $3.95 at all men's stores everywhere, or and they give an address where you can send away for your Amblers pants, just like Elston Howard did.
Any advertisement that uses the word slacks, I'm in.
I could tell that you were waiting for the word slacks. Wow. And Elston Howard, the Ambler man that he is, delivered.
That is catnip for a cat like myself.
Yeah,
slacks.
These pants were called, Big Yank in honor of
Wait, the
Elston
pants
Howard.
were called Big Yank?
They had a Big Yank Ambler slack in honor of the Big Yank Elston Howard.
And the first guy who wore them, Yogi Berra.
Yeah, he wore Elston Howard's pants.
Yeah,
which did not fit Yogi Berra well.
Those two are like twins.
Yeah. And you know what? Yogi Berra? Big ass.
Yeah, huge. That was his nickname.
I think it's also worth noting that Elston Howard became the first black player to be named the AL's MVP. In 1963, he was a 12-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove winner, won 4 World Series as a player.
It doesn't get talked about a lot. You hear stuff about like Steve Young following Joe Montana and Aaron Rodgers following Brett Favre. You hear about, you don't really hear a lot about Yogi Berra to Elston Howard. That is like, you're talking about 2 of maybe the 10 or 12 greatest catchers of all time.
Yeah.
Literally on top, replaced one another for the Yankees. No wonder they won the World Series half the time during those years. That's incredible that they had those two. They were teammates for a few years too.
They were, and in '57. Well, I think with '57 they're definitely teammates. But what was interesting about them is they had to also play left field.
Yeah,
because they had to have a position for both.
And there was no DH.
No DH. So each of them had to play bad left field, just so they could bat.
Yeah.
And then just get the swap out on catcher.
Yeah.
And,
a lot of teams do that, but they don't have Hall of Fame kind of guys like that they're swapping in and out.
That's exactly what they do. It's fascinating.
Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is not the same.
No, not the same level. Not the same level.
Example.
Great example.
Yeah.
And it's funny. And Yogi basically just played until he became the manager.
Yeah.
And so had to be a manager. It's
worked
fantastic.
out.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Howard also has.
Thank you, Elston Howard.
Elston Howard also has a Canadian connection. I don't know if you know this. In 1954, when the Yankees broke their spring training camp, so they didn't bring Howard with them. Instead of sending him back to their Kansas City Blues minor league affiliate, they sent him to play in Canada with the Toronto Maple Leafs of the International League, where he went on to win the MVP, hitting .330 with 22 homers and 109 RBI.
Wow!
So he
over
was
at Christie Pitts.
Yeah, he was MVP for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that is. We'll do one more birthday, and then Sandy's got one he wants to do.
Yep.
In 1981. 2-time Pro Bowl defensive back with the Bears, Charles Tillman, born in Chicago, where he ended up playing almost his whole career. He holds the NFL record for the most forced fumbles in a game, 4.
Yeah.
Which is were they playing with an oiled ball? And in a season, he had 10. But to me, it's one of the great nicknames in sports. His nickname is Peanut.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that in because I think the fact that a guy played defense on a really great team in the NFL and his nickname was Peanut is fantastic.
Matt, you've also had that nickname before.
Sandy's got,
but Matt did not play defensive back for the Bears.
He did not. Well, I just want to throw out 1963, February 23rd, 1963, six-time All-Star third baseman, left fielder Bobby Bonilla, who played for 9 different teams and won a World Series in 97 with the Marlins, was born in the Bronx. And, of course, we always want to celebrate Bobby Bonilla because every year, July 1st, is Bobby Bonilla Day, where he's going to get $1.19 million until 2035.
That's pretty sweet.
So we're not there yet. Still 12, 13 more years of that million.
Bobby Bonilla, probably the biggest home run in Marlins history, too. People don't talk about that a lot, but in that Game 7 in 97, they were losing, and he hit that home run in the 8th to bring them within 1. It looked like it was over.
Yeah.
And he hit that home run in the 8th to bring them within 1. That's probably the biggest home run in their team history. Like, it's the one that I most remember as being the most significant in a Game 7 of a World Series. He's become a joke because of the stupid contract,
yeah.
but he was a good player, and people, we tend to forget about that a bit.
He did play well with the Pirates, obviously.
Yeah, and he has that great footage of him in the Mets clubhouse where he challenges the reporter to a fight. Like, you remember that?
Yes,
where he's
yes,
like,
yeah.
"Well, make you move, brother." You're like, "Oh no, please don't do this. Don't do it."
I met Bobby Bonilla a couple times. I worked with him a little bit, and I shook his hand, and my hand disappeared.
Yeah.
He had massive mitts.
Yeah.
Has massive mitts. I'm sure they're still the same.
Yeah, they're probably the same size.
Huge hands. He's a big dude. Like,
and also, you're not little.
No. Well,
you're
in the chair.
You're
in the chair.
In the chair, you're little.
No.
But you're 6'4". It's not like you're some diminutive little person that he swallowed up. Like, if he's swallowing your hand, those are big hands.
He's a big dude. And I'll tell you what, very, very nice guy.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
That's
a
good
real
to
sweetheart.
hear. I like that.
He was so nice, so I have to give him. I give him. You know what? I would give him, if I had it, over $1 million every single year.
Sure.
Yeah, if I could. He deserves it.
There you go.
For being a quality human, Matt. Maybe you can learn from that.
I'm sorry about that.
I don't think Bobby Bonilla is in any movies.
No, but we did talk about a movie earlier.
We did, yeah.
And I think that's fair enough. Hey, Mike?
Yeah, I think that's good.
So we're going to head into our dork draft, where we're going to pick the best sports movies. The best sports movies.
Our favorite sports movies.
Yeah, let's say it. Let's personalize it. Let's personalize it. That we think. Now, the parameters were we're going to pick 3 each, but they have to be from 3 different sports.
That's right.
And do we want to do this is the baseball round, this is the football round?
No, because I don't think we'll have the same sports.
Anywhere you want to go, but once you've got one baseball, that's all you get.
That's right, or one
because
basketball.
baseball could be the deepest.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Probably is.
Maybe.
And I was under the.
But we're all going to want For Love of the Game, so it's going to be hard.
I was under the impression that these were desert island movies.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever your criteria.
Like rewatchable.
He's just going to judge them on what he thinks are the best movies. So whatever your criteria is your own.
Yeah, I mean,
he can also use his own criteria.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? There is one great joke, by the way, for the Love of the Game. I want to point out real quickly. So I believe it's Renee, but his the love of his life.
It's Kelly Preston.
Thank you.
It's
Kelly
not Renee Russo.
Thank you.
Yep.
That's the Tin Cup.
That's right. Yeah.
Don't give the name of the movies away.
Here we go.
Here we are. Well, maybe you'll pick that one.
Kippen, I want to stress again, there's no reward for any of this. There is no cash prize.
So he goes. He's obviously pitching this perfect game. He's in Yankee Stadium. She finally decides to go to the stadium. She wasn't going to go. She's going to go to the park. She's in a cab, and she's driving to the stadium while the game is going on. And there's this cab driver, this New York cab driver, and he's playing this kind of Middle Eastern music and whatever. And she goes, "Can you quickly turn to the game, the Yankees game?" And in every other movie, they go, "What is it?" And they listen to the game on the way there. Instead, he goes, "No." Sam Raimi directed that movie.
That's good.
And that is the funniest moment in that movie where he just says no and he never puts it on. I was like, that is so great.
Well, there you go. That's totally Sandy's first pick.
Well, no, it isn't.
Sandy has chosen.
He's already picked
says,
Tin Cup,
not
and he's picked For the Love of the Game.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's going first?
I think I get first, according to the.
All right.
I don't want it. If anybody wants first pick,
no, go for it.
All right. I'll tell you what. I'm going to go right into baseball, even though I think I know both of your baseball picks, and neither of you is going to pick this one. But I think this movie has it all for rewatchability. There's humor, there's drama. I'm picking Moneyball.
Okay.
I'm picking Moneyball as my baseball movie and as my first pick in my best sports movie,
Yeah.
Desert Island Draft.
That actually, it's interesting you say that. That would have been my baseball movie too.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wait, he just said Desert Island. I didn't know that was a parameter in this. Was it Desert Island Draft?
Well, that's what I was saying. I thought it was for
I,
rewatchability.
you know,
I thought we had a DVD store down the block. We could go flip one out.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all VHS. Though.
Not that awards are anything, but it did have 6 Oscar nominations.
Save it for Richard.
Okay.
Okay. Well, then, because you've already picked a baseball movie, I will go to basketball. This might be my favorite. This is one of my favorite movies.
I know
period.
exactly what it's going
Yeah,
to be.
we know.
And I'm gonna pick it's Hoosiers.
Yeah.
That's a rewatchable for me anytime. I think it's one of the great understated performances of Hackman's career.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a beautiful movie. I don't love Barbara Hershey always, but I love her in this. Dennis Hopper's great. The story's great. The kid who plays Jimmy, who I've never seen again in anything, is terrific. I just love the story, love the movie. That's my pick.
Okay.
Solid.
Pick. Well, I'm going to go back to baseball then, just because I don't want this one to go out of my hands. Slip through my hands on that desert island.
That is a great movie. Slip Through My Hands from 1973. Oh, sorry, no.
This podcast is sponsored by Chico's Bail Bonds. I'm taking Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
I'm
I
going
assume
Bad
you
News
mean the
Bears.
remake with Greg Kinnear.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right?
I'm I'm most certainly go with Bad News Bears, a movie I watch two times a year for sure. Has it all. Matthew's one of my favorites, and I don't want either one of you guys to have it, so I'm gonna take it.
Fair enough.
Out of spite.
Yeah, my baseball movie is gonna be Bad News Bears.
Okay, that's a great pick. And that also was my second
Okay,
baseball
good.
movie. So
Fair
you guys
enough.
you're killing me. Okay, Kippen,
We
go
got
ahead.
Kippen.
Oh, man. All right. Okay. I've got to think which way you guys are going to go. All right. Okay. I'm going to pick something here. I'm going to go with, so sports movies.
Thank you.
Thanks. People are listening, Matt, so
man.
try to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
when
You know
you're
what? This
going through
movie,
this.
I think he's rattled because I said Tin Cup.
Yeah,
Like it was going to shock everybody.
I'm going to take some heat for this one. I'm going to take Jerry Maguire.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Ooh,
Didn't like that.
took a lot of heat there.
No, there's no. It's
Let me
just ominous silence.
Let me just add it to my notes since it wasn't in my top 15.
Yeah, I know. I just think it's fun. It's a good watch. You get to see there's a lot of heart in it.
Cuba Gooding is very good.
No,
in it.
that's
He's
a good
very
choice.
funny.
Charming movie. I think if I'm on a desert island, as the parameter states, here's something I can watch over and
Interesting.
over.
Interesting. You've picked two movies that are about sort of the business of sports rather than just the sports.
Also, the movie that
true.
introduced the world to Renee Zellweger,
Thank you.
two-time Oscar winner.
Oh, Frank's still here.
You had me hello, Frank. Yes, you yelled out. Yeah, okay. That's to me. Then I will take my next sport movie will be, you may have heard of it, Caddyshack.
Nope, never heard of it. Now, what happens in that movie, Michael?
I think it's about chess.
Thank you.
There's not. I think Rodney Dangerfield in that movie is so outrageously funny. I'm sure I haven't watched it in a while. I'm sure some of it will be like you'll cringe
Won't hold
at
up.
some of the humor.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And if I'm on a desert island, I'm by myself anyway,
There you
so I can
go.
watch it and not
Yeah.
feel ashamed of the insensitivities involved.
A lot of comedic heavyweights at the peak of their game. Was
And,
that
and Bill
Dangerfield?
Murray and Chevy Chase
Yeah.
who like hated each other.
Yes.
And
while
Da-
filming that too.
Dangerfield's first movie, maybe, I think that might have been his first.
might be.
That's quite possible. I
Yeah,
never really thought
might
about
be.
it, but I guess so. Yeah.
In Caddyshack 2, his role was played by Jackie Mason,
That's right.
Ooh.
who is way
Ooh,
better.
you got the-
Also,
you got
on
the,
the-
you got the ball.
on the
you gotta-
desert
you gotta hit it,
island,
you gotta
you're,
club, you gotta. There's my Jackie Mason.
Oh, okay.
You got a ball. You
I'm
got a
just
club.
saying,
You got to hit a ball.
Mike might be winning in the soundtrack department, getting that Kenny Loggins.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta tell you, I went baseball already, and now I got to move. Guys, I don't want you to take away my basketball movie, so I better jump in and get it quick. Teen Wolf.
Oh my God.
Come on, man. Teen Wolf is. This may come back in a future episode, but one of my favorite things in Teen Wolf is when he turns into the wolf
Yeah.
and everything just goes quiet. And then he kind of dribbles like it's okay, and everyone kind of goes, okay. Like everyone's like,
where's this going? This might be okay.
They're okay with it. They get into it, And that actor who is also in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, it's not for sale, Francis. The Francis and the larger guy.
Okay, yeah.
Perfect. Like perfect stereotypical casting of a fat guy. I mean, just every character was so great.
We're gonna have a true confession here. I have not seen Teen Wolf.
Well, let's stop this podcast
wow.
right now.
Okay, yeah.
Watch that real quick,
and then we'll come back.
So this is Michael J. Fox, not Teen Wolf 2, which I believe was Jason Bateman.
No, this is the original.
And then there was the series later, but this is the original.
This is the OG. Yeah. Where they're surfing on top of the delivery truck and the whole bit, and Styles.
Mm-hmm. And sorry, continue.
Okay, please ask questions. This is an open forum.
Does he find out from his dad in the car, on the truck, on the way to
It's a family.
It's a family ailment. And
so the principal really hates Michael J. Fox and hates him a lot, and he doesn't know why.
Okay.
And the reason is because the principal, his girl he was in love with is Michael J. Fox's mom.
Mike hasn't seen it.
Okay.
So
spoiler.
So the dad stole. And
okay.
when the dad gets real angry, he intimidates I think it's the thing is like it's all about like they can't control the rage. And then whenever they freak out, no one likes them.
And this is a sports movie.
Basketball movie, Michael. Basketball movie. Okay. So there you go. My basketball movie is Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf.
Now, speaking of winning awards,
this is going to be a tough one to win. All right, Matt. What's your last?
All right.
Pick?
Well, I think I don't want to. Gosh, I was thinking that Caddyshack would fall here, but looks like it hasn't. So I'm going to go ahead and take. Maybe you've heard of a little movie called Rocky.
Great choice.
Everybody loves Rocky. You can't.
It is a great film too. Like the sequels kind of, it gets a bit funny, but the first film is a great film.
Should we go ahead and say you can't take any of the Rocky movies? You can only take one.
No, you can take.
Okay.
Best Picture, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
Best Picture, Director, Editing, and then 7 nominations on top of that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a great film. Okay, my last pick. Because you guys kind of took my 2 baseball movies that I was really hoping to get, I'm going to not pick a baseball movie, surprisingly. And because the movie I like the best that's left on my list is Friday Night Lights.
That's where I was going next.
That's where
I thought I might get
Jerry
away with.
Maguire took Friday Night's Lights' place.
Yeah.
I love that film with Billy Bob. Like I think it's a great film. I can watch that anytime when it's on, and often do. So that's my sort of surprise third pick. I was going to go there, as we talked about, there's a bunch of baseball movies you could pick that are great. But like The Natural's still out there and stuff. But I think my favorite movie left that I could think of was Friday Night Lights.
Shockingly, Shock you didn't take a baseball movie.
Yeah. I thought Field of Dreams was your movie.
I like the book better than the movie.
Okay.
I think the movie is flawed. I think it has magic in it for sure.
Field of Dreams?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it does make me emotional, but that's like dad stuff and all that. But I like the book better, Shoeless Joe, than I like the film. There's parts of the film that I feel like are a bit creaky now, which is why I didn't pick it. Bull Durham, same thing.
Oh yeah, Bull Durham as well.
Yeah. Like I had it on my list, but if I'm being honest, Friday Night Lights I like better.
Well, it's funny because The Natural, the movie's better than the book because the movie has a positive ending.
Right.
The Natural, it's like such a downer. Okay, well, before I took Teen Wolf, I was considering even taking Hustle, the new Adam Sandler movie. So good. That's an awesome basketball movie.
It's a great film, yeah.
But I'll take a football movie. And you know what? I've already kind of gotten into the schlock world, so I'm going to continue with that with Any Given Sunday. Because it is such a ridiculous movie.
Yes, it is.
But you can just watch it over and over again. There's so many flaws, so many stupid stuff in there, but it's so flashy and dumb that I love it. And it's easy. It's an easy one when it's on TV. You stop and watch.
Pleasure, yeah, for sure.
So I'll continue the guilty pleasure trend and take Any Given Sunday.
That speech Pacino has about what is it like this much? Like, that's a great. Even if the film is sort of funny, that speech is great. Like he's terrific in that.
And there's enough there. I also consider The Longest Yard. Not the remake, the original as well. Yes. But there we go. So that's our draft. Now we're going to see who Richard Crouse thinks might have won this draft, who had the best movies. I know Richard Crouse, huge Teen Wolf fan, so I know I'm probably on my way to victory here.
Sandbagger.
But so lovely to have him. So let's get to it. All right. Welcome to This Day in Sports. Richard Crouse is here. Richard, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm amazed that you got the name This Day in Sports.
I know.
Podcast that is not already taken somewhere.
Well, I guess everybody had the same feeling. They were like, this must be out there already. We're not even going to bother. And somehow we did. And as you know, my grandfather invented the internet, so I get anything I want on the internet.
Well, good for you.
Thank you.
Our first choice for the podcast title was Amazon, but apparently that was
yeah. And then Hockey Night in Canada was already taken. So
So we got our third choice, so that wasn't bad.
So Richard, I would say the most celebrated movie critic in Canada. I'm just going to say the world. Why not? Just say the world.
Why not the world? And let's call me beloved as well. I like that too.
Beloved. Thank you. Beloved film critic Richard Crouse, an absolute gentleman to be here. And obviously we're so pleased. And we picked these movies. The parameter was we each picked 3 movies in a draft format. And of course, we couldn't pick the same sport twice. And there are some very solid choices there, maybe some oddball choices. What do you think? We'll throw it out there. What do you think right off the bat with some of these movie choices?
Well, sort of generally speaking, I like sports movies because they're never really about the sports. All the great sports movies are about something bigger than just the big game that happens at the end of all the movies, because there is kind of a pattern that all these movies take. What I like about a great sports movie is that even if you're not a fan of baseball or football or whatever the sport is, you can still watch it because the themes that they are talking about, like the universality of being the underdog or whatever it might be, can relate to a lot of people. So a movie like Friday Night Lights, I've never watched a football game in my life, but I like that movie because it is about a lot of things that aren't specifically sports related. So you've got a good selection of movies here. I question one.
Okay.
There's only one that I question.
Can we guess which one it is first?
Well, yeah, if you like, sure.
Well, I'm going to guess Teen Wolf.
Oh.
Yeah, that would have been my guess too.
Yeah, we have a winner. Yeah, we have a winner there.
So you question just how great a movie that was, and why wouldn't everybody else want to pick that movie? Is that
maybe that's what I was thinking. That's it.
Two of the 3 of us felt the same way, Richard.
Okay, there you go.
It's a basketball movie. At the heart of it, it's Hoosiers with hair.
But
or maybe a high school movie about being different.
Yeah, being an outcast. I know there's lots of different things there, but you mentioned that it's a basketball movie, which for sure, that's one element of it. But it's often said about films about sports that the smaller balls equal better movies. So basketball movies, generally speaking, not great. Baseball movies, usually fantastic.
I've never heard that before. That's good.
Interesting. All right. I didn't know about the smaller balls theory. We will
Ping pong movies. Amazing.
Ping pong.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
So Richard, going from the questionable to the better, I don't know how to put it that, not much of an alliteration on that questionable, but Teen Wolf is not the best maybe, but what do you like in there? What are the ones that are some of your favorites?
Well, Moneyball is great. Team One, and I don't know which one of you chose this, but Moneyball is a great movie. And you would think on the surface, if you just read about it, that it's essentially a movie about an algorithm and baseball. And that does not sound like something I'm going to be really drawn to, but like all great sports movies, it's not about an algorithm and it's not really about baseball. It's about building an undervalued team, putting together, against great odds, a team that can go on to win. And that's something I think a lot of people who have felt like an outsider or, slightly outside the circle can relate to. So I think Moneyball works really well as a choice. Jerry Maguire is one of those rare sports movies that manages to bang together romance and a sport kind of angle as well and work equally well in both sides. And then Rocky, I mean, this is all Team One's picks. I think Team One must have gone first because they managed to get some pretty good films in here. But Rocky is great. And I love that Rocky is this like ultimate underdog story in sports. But if you look outside the movie, if you look at the history of the movie, Sylvester Stallone writes this script and he's passing it around Hollywood, and people are saying, "Oh, this is incredible! This is such a great script. We love this, but we don't love you. We don't want you in it." And he stuck to his guns and turned down $1 million, which in 1975 or '6, when all this was happening, would have been the equivalent of turning down $10 million today. And a lot of people wouldn't do that, but he wanted to star in it because he knew it would make him a star. So he actually, worked against maybe his own self-interest in terms of his bank account so that he could get that part. So I love the underdog story on both sides of the camera for Rocky.
Okay. I seem like we're already going towards Team One here.
Well, Team Two also has some pretty good movies here. Hoosiers is the great basketball movie. Hoosiers is, other than Hoop Dreams, which is a fantastic basketball documentary, Hoosiers is probably the best movie about basketball ever made. It's got, a fantastic performance from Gene Hackman in it. After at that time, I think he had come off a run of maybe not so great movies, and he comes back and proves why he was one of the best actors, on film, like kind of ever. But it's not so much the story that I love about this, but it's the characters. It's the characters about this. It really feels like a movie. I grew up in a small town. It really feels like a movie that understands that it's from a small town and it's about a small town. And so Hoosiers works on a whole bunch of different levels.
So just to be clear, because I know we've heard this before, your favorite Gene Hackman movie is Welcome to Mooseport, and then Hoosiers is like number 2, or is French Connection?
Yeah, well, no, it's like 1.5, for me. Yeah. And then Caddyshack is, listen, Chevy Chase, Rodney Dangerfield, Bill Murray in a movie about golf and a gopher. And it's got such great, quotable lines in it. And it's, I don't really know that I consider it a sports movie, but it is about golf. And, but it's about a lot more than that too. But I think Caddyshack is cool and belongs on the list. And then Friday Night Lights. We talked about that just a little bit more. I like Friday Night Lights for some of the same reasons that I like Hoosiers as well. And we're talking about the movie here, the Billy Bob Thornton movie, rather than the television show. And the Friday Night Lights I like because it understands the time and place that it's in. The story that it's trying to tell isn't just the story of a football team; it's the story of the town. And I think that's what has made this resonate so much. I think it's in a lot of ways people love the television show, and I know that. My wife recently rewatched every episode of the show, and every time I would step into the room where she was watching it, it was just Taylor Kitsch staring at people. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've watched this show in a long time, but it's
there's
just
a lot of that,
staring, and a lot of head turns and a lot of musical montages. I'm going to go for the movie on that one.
And that
he's a good-looking guy, but there's a lot of shots of him just looking off in the distance.
Looking off into the distance, yeah.
What I do like about the Friday Night Lights movie is you got Tim McGraw in there, who's Tug McGraw's kid, so you have a baseball connection within football as well. Yeah. I was just a couple of things I was going to throw. Did you enjoy Hustle? Hustle was a great basketball movie. You didn't pick. That was the Adam Sandler.
Yeah, Hustle is a good basketball movie, and it's one of those ones where no matter how many movies like Uncut Gems, or Punch Drunk Love that Adam Sandler makes, or Rain Over Me, people always think of him as Billy Madison, and it's a shame because he's a good dramatic actor. And Hustle, he was fantastic in that, and it was a good story. But again, like a real classic underdog story, which is what I think makes those movies universal rather than so specific to just being a movie about the sport.
It's funny because I almost picked Uncut Gems as my basketball movie. That's a joke.
Here's a more important question, Richard. You could disqualify Team 2 because there's some debate whether golf is actually a sport in the first place.
Listen, as probably the least sporty person of the four of us here, I'm going to say it's a sport. You guys can argue amongst yourselves about that.
Right.
For me,
another episode.
Yeah, it's a whole, like, it's another hour when we have more time. Yeah.
That was interesting because we also we're talking about movies that we didn't pick, but you talk about Caddyshack. No one picked Slapshot.
Slapshot is again, man, it's a great hockey movie. And I don't know about the universality of it. Again, it's another underdog story, I suppose, but it's all like, come for the hockey, stay for the incredible swearing in that movie. It really is, the most profane, ridiculous movie. I remember seeing it as a kid at the Astor Theater in Liverpool, Nova Scotia, and like feeling like I was peering into an alien world because I had never heard that much swearing from adults like ever. So
From Paul Newman.
Paul Newman, I know.
Cinema icon Paul Newman.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, now we're going to get to the team Teen Wolf, which I'll just admit is my team. Okay. What did you think of the other two movies on that list?
Well, Bad News Bears, I like the original Bad News Bears, the 1976 version with Walter Matthau, because it's got like Tatum O'Neal and it's got this amazing cast, and it's a little more vulgar. It, again, great underdog story, but Walter Matthau plays an alcoholic coach who takes over this team and he doesn't really want to, but then he's, his heart is warmed by this, and you can just smell the liquor coming off him. I mean, it's such a great kind of performance that you wouldn't get today. You wouldn't see the same kind of thing. The Richard Linklater movie is really great. Billy Bob Thornton again in that, but Walter Matthau just felt like like he just staggered out of a bar and took over this team. And I kind of love that a little bit.
You got the Jackie Earl Haley in that movie too, right?
Yeah, Jackie Earl Haley's in that one as well.
What's the guy who was killed on the Twilight Zone set? He's
Vic Morrow.
Vic Morrow is the other coach. He's the other main evil coach. Yeah, geez. Yeah.
So lots of great names in it, and it's a cool, vulgar little scrappy movie about baseball. So it's pretty great. And then Any Given Sunday rounds out Team 3, and
I don't like your tone. I do not like your tone, Richard.
Any Given Sunday is pretty great. Any Given Sunday, I like Oliver Stone movies. I frequently find that they give me a headache, and this one I thought was going to, because every shot in it is only about 4 seconds long, or it feels that way anyway when I think back to the movie. But I mean, that cast, it's Al Pacino and Cameron Diaz, and I know I'm forgetting Jamie Foxx is in there. And it's got an amazing cast. I think that it's one of Oliver Stone's best movies. And it took me sort of behind the scenes of something that I don't really know that much about. I don't know what happens, off the field at football. And that movie gave me a pretty good idea of what that was. Plus had a pretty great sports story wrapped around that.
It did. It's kind of it has ridiculous moments, but it's a giant movie. Sure.
It is a giant movie, and of course it has ridiculous moments. It's an Oliver Stone movie. I always think of like Scarface, which he wrote, didn't direct, but Scarface to me kind of feels like a crime opera. It's not really, just a crime story. It's just big, and he likes that. He likes to mess around with big themes and translate that through his filmmaking, which is fast and furious, and then he plays pretty, fast and loose with these themes. So fun movies all around.
Nice. Okay, so we got a pretty wide swath. I
think. And before you crown the winner here, Richard, just wondering, are there any notable omissions? Any movies that you are surprised never made?
I would have said Hoop Dreams for sure. I mean, I know it's not a dramatic film; it's a documentary, but Hoop Dreams is fantastic, and it really is. It checks off every single box, that you want from both the documentary, and you do get involved with the characters, and it is pretty great. And I'm sure that there are millions of others that just aren't flooding into my head right now. Sure. But as I say, sports movies, the ones that work for me are the ones that are, larger in scope, that really comment on something other than just, hey, look, he scored. That doesn't really interest me that much. We can get that every Saturday and Sunday, or whatever night, watching games on television. You got to really get me interested in the characters for me to care about it.
I think Rudy was one we talked about after too.
Rudy,
Yeah,
Field of
Rudy.
Dreams.
Yeah, Field of Dreams. Yeah, no, Rudy is I mean, still one of those movies. Brian's Song. I mean, there's a bunch of them. Yeah, that are openly geared to make you weep.
Oh, yeah.
As a sports fan.
But that's what I always said about Friday Night Lights, especially the series. It's made to make grown men cry.
Yeah,
like any scene that's like a coach or a dad, it's like, oh.
And then they all stare as you cry. All the characters turn and stare at you while you're
good-looking people staring.
Something you said earlier about Rocky made me think. You said Sylvester Stallone, he didn't take the money. He bet on himself, it seemed, which is sort of an interesting sports comparison. A lot of players now betting on themselves.
Yeah, which is what, I mean, Rocky does too. Rocky says, listen, I can win this and I know what I'm doing. And so, for me, that is what kind of really, it's that backstory that gives that movie, an extra little, push. And, listen, it's a fantastic, even if it didn't have that backstory, it would still be a great movie because it has great characters. Burgess Meredith, as they're trying to come on, there are so many great elements to it. But when you know the whole story, it really does feel even, I don't know, more authentic somehow than it may have otherwise.
And before we get to your judgment of this, I want to ask quickly, because I know the Oscars are coming up. Is there any underdogs? Because we've been talking about underdogs. The underdog picks for the Oscars, someone that might surprise everybody as a win. Do you think it's all sure things right now?
Well, you know what? This year, I would say that it is the least sure thing kind of year that we've had in a very long time. And I think Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a movie I was really fond of, nominated for 11 Academy Awards. I think it's either going to win 11 Academy Awards or win nothing. It's going to be one of those. And, I would love Yes, write that down now. I would love to see Ke Huy Quan win. He was the short round in the Indiana Jones movies. He was in the Goonies, and then he couldn't get a job for 20 years, more than that. He worked behind the scenes a little bit, and then there was this dry spell of 20 years where no one would hire him. And they brought him back for this movie, and he won a Golden Globe, and he's won a number of awards, and he's nominated for an Academy Award right now. So that's the one that I'm looking forward to. It is such a great story. I interviewed him just a little while ago, and as we were talking about that long break that he had, he actually cried, and it was because they're talking about it. And I've got nothing but time for that guy, and a lot of hope that he wins.
So seemingly, even though he's perhaps a sure thing, he's the underdog. His whole life has been coming back. So
yeah, and he describes in the interview that I did with him, he describes seeing Crazy Rich Asians in a movie theater and says, maybe it's time. Maybe someone cares about me now, because there's more representation and more diversity in films now than there ever has been. And so, yeah, he's a great story. That is the reason I'll be tuning into the Oscars this year.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Excellent. Well, every pick you get wrong, I'm going to cut a finger off.
Okay. Also, another one of my favorite movies from this year.
Yeah.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
We know you got to run, so let's get that judgment made. Let's take it down to between team 1 and 2, more than likely.
Well, for me, it's team 1 because Moneyball is a stone cold classic. Jerry Maguire is a sports film that manages to be a lot of different things. It's also a romantic comedy. It's also Cameron Crowe, who's one of my favorite people. And then Rocky. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen Rocky in the theater when I was 12 or something like that, when it came out, and I'll watch it. It's like The Godfather. I'll watch it anytime it's on. So it's got to be team 1 for me, although Hoosiers almost pushed me over the edge, and Team Wolf just turned me right off.
Well, no. Team Wolf pushed you over the edge, but in the other direction.
That's right. That's right.
Richard, thank you so much for doing this. Always a pleasure. Please come back, because we'll for sure have a ton of other movies to dig into, other categories. We'd love to have you back another time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Richard, very much.
Thanks. See you guys.
See ya.
Wow. There it is. Teen Wolf, huh? Okay.
An unsurprising
Stunned.
result.
Totally stunned. We'll see. If I can bounce back. So hey, let's just remind ourselves right now, and all our listeners and sometimes viewers out there, that we are here at Cabin Barber and Gentleman Supply as our lovely backdrop and setting. Great place to jump in for a haircut, a shave, pair of socks, anything a man may want.
Including sweatshirts. Thank you. We're going to someday get those sweatshirts. Well, at least we're going to share one.
We're going to share a sweatshirt. Cabin's place to be. You're going to walk in feeling maybe a little bit tired, maybe a little bit like you let yourself go. Cabin's going to clean you up, send you back there to reality, feeling a lot better about yourself. And if you want more about that, check out cabingoods.ca for all that information. It smells great in here.
It does.
And people don't get the smell effect.
Leather, wood, shaving cream. Oof.
Yeah.
I'm like 31% more manly just being here.
Yeah. It smells the opposite of a locker room.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yes.
Hey, Matt?
I agree. I think if you're
you woke him up.
If you're a down and out basketball coach who just needs a shot at winning a title, if you need a proviso,
yeah, thank you, proviso.
Or if you need a big chair.
Yeah.
Or a big chair.
Cabin's the place to be. If you're a wolf who plays basketball.
Oh, he would have to, yeah.
You need
what
a
a
shave.
great tie-in.
Needs
a
a
wolf
shave.
needs a shave.
Needs a shave. Yeah. I think we've done everything we can for February 23rd.
I think February 23rd will never forgive us.
Thank you so much for listening. We love our fans. We love the folks who listen to this podcast. Check us out. We are so pleased to have you here for the February 23rd edition. We'll see you and listen, and we'll connect with you in March for This Day in Sports. I'm Sandy Jobin Bevins.
I'm Matt Kippen.
I'm Mike Shera.
This has been This Day in Sports.